Have you ever seen a bird where the rules of nature seem completely reversed? Where the mother doesn't raise the young and the father becomes the full-time caretaker? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear sounds almost unreal, but it is 100% real. Deep inside the wetlands of Africa lives one of the strangest birds in the natural world, the African Jacana. At first glance, it may look like just another small water bird walking across floating leaves, but its life story is nothing like the birds you think you know. In the world of jacanas, everything is flipped. Here, the female is not smaller or weaker. She is larger, stronger, and far more aggressive than the males. In fact, she behaves like a ruler of the wetlands. A single female can control a large territory, and inside that territory, she doesn't choose just one partner. Instead, she lives with multiple males at the same time. Yes, you heard that right. One female, many male partners, and completely separate families all happening at once. But here is where it becomes even more unbelievable. After the female lays her eggs, her job is basically done. No nesting, no guarding, no raising the chicks. She simply moves on, sometimes to another territory, sometimes to another group of males, and the entire responsibility falls on the fathers. The males become the full-time parents. They sit on the eggs, they protect them from danger, and when the chicks finally hatch, they guide them, protect them, and even risk their own lives to keep them safe. In this world, the father is the caregiver, the protector, and the emotional backbone of the family. But how does a bird survive in such a dangerous environment while carrying out all this responsibility? The answer lies in one of the most unbelievable adaptations in nature. Their feet, long spider-like toes spread across floating lily pads, allow them to walk on water plants without sinking. From a distance, it looks like they are literally walking on water. That is why some people call them the Jesus bird. But this is only the beginning of their story. Because what happens during parenting, and how these fathers protect their tiny chicks from predators, is even more dramatic than you can imagine. And it all starts the moment a chick breaks out of the egg. The moment an African Jacana chick hatches, something extraordinary happens. There is no long childhood, no slow learning period, no constant feeding from parents like many other birds. Instead, within just a few hours of being born, these tiny chicks are already moving on their own. They can walk, they can climb across floating plants, they can even search for food by themselves almost immediately. It sounds impossible, but in the dangerous wetlands where they live, survival demands speed. But even though they act independent, they are never truly alone, because their father is always close. The male Jacana becomes a full-time guardian from the moment the eggs are laid. He sits on them patiently under the sun, protects them through storms, and waits through long hours of silence. And when the chicks finally arrive, his real job begins. If danger appears even slightly, a shadow above the water, a sudden movement in the grass, the father reacts instantly. He gives a special warning call, and in seconds, something incredible happens. The chicks rush toward him without hesitation. They disappear under his wings like they are entering a safe shelter. And what you see next looks almost surreal. Tiny legs dangling beneath the father bird, while his wings form a moving shield around them. From a distance, it almost looks like the bird has extra legs hanging underneath its body. But those are not extra legs. They are his children, completely hidden and protected. Sometimes, to confuse predators, the father will even pretend to be injured. He flaps one wing, limps dramatically across the water plants, and draws attention away from his chicks. It is a performance of sacrifice, designed only for survival. But there is something even more fascinating about these birds. Something hidden in their body structure. Their feet are not normal bird feet. The toes are extremely long, so long that they spread their body weight across wide floating leaves. This allows them to run across lily pads without sinking. It is like nature gave them built-in snowshoes, designed perfectly for walking on floating vegetation. This is why they are often called lily walkers. But while their walking skills look magical, their social life is even more unusual. Because in this world, love, parenting, and survival all follow completely different rules. In most animal families, we expect one simple pattern. One male, one female, one shared responsibility. But in the world of African Jacanas, nature rewrote the entire rulebook. Here, the female is the dominant one. She is larger, stronger, and highly territorial. She controls large wetland areas like a queen ruling her kingdom. Within her territory, there are multiple males, but not as rivals fighting for dominance. Instead, they become her chosen partners. And this is where things get truly unusual. A single female may form relationships with several males at the same time. Each male builds his own nest. Each male prepares for fatherhood independently. And the female, she simply moves from nest to nest, laying eggs in each one. Then she leaves. No guarding, no incubation, no raising chicks. Her role ends the moment the eggs are laid. From that point onward, the entire burden of life shifts to the fathers. Each male becomes a dedicated single parent. He sits on the eggs for days under heat, rain, and danger. He barely leaves leaves the nest, because leaving even for a moment could mean losing everything. When the chicks hatch, he continues his duty without rest, protecting, guiding, teaching survival. In this strange society, fatherhood is not secondary, it is everything. But this system creates something even more fascinating: competition among females. Because territories are valuable and good nesting males are limited, females often fight each other aggressively to control better areas. These battles are not symbolic, they are real fights, where stronger females defend their space and dominance with force. This is one of the rarest systems in the animal kingdom, a reversal of roles so extreme that it challenges how we usually understand parenting and family structure. But even beyond their social life, their physical survival is just as impressive. Walking across floating vegetation in the middle of swamps is extremely dangerous. One wrong step could mean sinking into water or becoming vulnerable to predators. Yet jacanas move effortlessly. Their long toes spread out their weight so perfectly that even delicate lily pads barely bend under them. They don't just survive in wetlands, they rule them. And while the female dominates the social world and the male dominates parenting, both are equally essential in this delicate balance of nature. But the most emotional part of their story is still ahead. Because what happens when danger strikes the family, and how far a father will go to protect his chicks, reveals the true heart of the African jacana. In the wetlands, danger is never far away. Snakes, large birds, and hidden predators move silently through the reeds, always searching for an easy meal. For an African jacana family, survival is a constant test. But the father is always ready. He does not leave his chicks unguarded, even for a moment. Every sound, every shadow, every ripple in the water matters to him. And when danger finally comes, his reaction is instant. The warning call breaks the silence. It is sharp, urgent, and impossible to ignore. In seconds, the entire group of chicks rushes toward him. What happens next is one of the most emotional scenes in the bird world. The father lowers his wings, and the chicks disappear underneath him. Safe, hidden, protected. From the outside, all you can see are tiny legs dangling beneath his body, moving quickly as he shifts across floating leaves. It looks strange, almost surreal, but it is pure survival strategy. And if the predator gets too close, the father does something even more desperate. He performs a distraction. He flaps one wing wildly, drags one side of his body as if injured, and moves away from the chicks to draw attention toward himself. It is a calculated sacrifice. He is willing to become the target, just to give his chicks a chance to escape. And this is where the emotional truth of the African jacana becomes clear. In a world where the female lays the eggs and walks away, the father stays behind to carry everything else. He is the warmth, he is the shield. He is the constant presence in a dangerous world. Even their unusual body design plays a role in this survival story. Those extremely long toes are not just for walking on floating plants. They are for speed, balance, and escape. They allow both adults and chicks to move across unstable lily pads like skilled acrobats, turning dangerous water surfaces into safe pathways. This is why they are often called lily trotters. But behind all these survival skills, behind the strange family structure, and behind the unusual beauty of their world, lies a simple truth. Nature does not follow one rule. It adapts, it experiments, and sometimes it creates something completely unexpected. A world where mothers rule territories, fathers raise children alone, and tiny birds walk across water plants like they are walking on air. The African jacana is not just a bird. It is a living example of how strange, creative, and unpredictable nature can be. And once you see their world, you realize something important. In nature, there is no single normal, only survival in its most extraordinary forms.